All right, everyone. Welcome to Week 7 of the NFL picks against the spread. We had a really good last couple of weeks, going 3-0 in each of the last 2 weeks. I'm going to try to carry this momentum in to Week 7. I mentioned last week was a really hard week. Vegas got absolutely destroyed. Favorites were covering left and right. And taking the Packers as a road favorite last week. The Colts as a pretty heavy home favorite last week. Weren't games I was particularly comfortable with, but it all worked out. I think this week Vegas probably is going to right the ship. There's a lot of big point spreads. I think they're trying to, they're juicing the lines a little bit, and then there's some lopsided matchups, but they're just trying to get some, some money back here. So hopefully some dogs do cover this week, because that's the way I'm going in Week 7. So I got 3 games. There's some other games that I'll talk about that I won't be betting, but just if you guys are wondering my opinion. Just tough week. I know I said last week was tough, but this week I'm like, whoa, these ones are big point spreads, and just these games they're tough because, big point spreads in the NFL, I think underdogs are typically the way to go, but some of these teams are really bad and could get smacked. So just some games that I was looking at, but I'm not on. Kansas City and Tennessee, of course, is going to draw a lot of attention this week, especially with the total. I think I don't know if it's 56.5, 57 now. Whatever the number is, just if you're betting a total in that game, I just bet over. If it's 58, 59, 60, both of these teams should score in the 30s. I would think like a 34, 31, 38, 34 type of game. It might not be, obviously. Maybe it's a surprising game and it's, goes to the under. But you can't think of it like that. These teams played each other 10 times. 7 of them, both teams probably score over 30 points. KC's a 4.5-point favorite. This is a tough one to handicap because, there's reasons on both sides, on who to take. For me, I would take Tennessee or pass. When you have, 2 really bad defenses and then you're catching 4.5 points, 4 points as the home team, I'd probably just take the home team with the points, and that's Tennessee. Kansas City, of course, can win this game by a touchdown, but I can't back the Chiefs. Rule of thumb is you just don't back road teams laying points when you have a really bad defense, and that's what the Chiefs are doing. They have a really, we've seen with the Chiefs the last couple of years, that's been their Achilles heel. Last year they improved a little bit on defense compared to 2019, but this year they've just regressed. They're awful on defense. I can't lay points with a road team. They're last against the run. Tennessee wants to do, they just want to run the ball. That's what they want to do. I'm going to just do a props ticket on this game and just pick the ones I like and just bet the over. Henry, if you're betting him, just take over rush yards, like Mahomes, over pass yards. This is not a game you're going to get involved in any unders with. It's just 2 bad defenses. Last team that has the ball wins, or the first team to punt loses. Possessions will be at a premium because if you don't score in a possession, that could be it. So I don't know, maybe Tennessee or pass, but I'm not betting this game. This is just maybe more of a fun prop game and just, watch those yards rack up. Another one was Jets and Patriots. I don't know, tough one to bet. I think it's a little bit of, a 7.5, 8 points now for the Patriots. It's a lot of points to lay, but at the same time, the Jets are awful. I really don't know where to go there. I'd probably just take the Jets or pass. I don't know. That's another tough game. Colts and Niners. I was looking at Indy plus the points all week, but the weather is going to be a big issue down in that game. That's a tough one to pick as well. I don't really know what to think of San Francisco at this point, but probably Indy or pass. Another one I was close to betting the Cincinnati-Baltimore game. Baltimore 6.5-point favorite. I was looking at Cincinnati. The reason I'm off this game, Cincinnati's a really balanced team defensively, offensively, between Joe Burrow and Chase, in the running game. This is, a really good football team right now. But Baltimore is a rhythm team. They're a they're a streaky team. You know, when they're streaky, they can rifle off 3, 4, 5 wins in a row by margin, and that's kind of where they're at right now. We just saw them, beat the crap out of the Chargers last week. I think Baltimore is just hot, and this is a team you don't want to get in the way of when they're hot. In the last 3 meetings between these two teams, Baltimore has absolutely destroyed Cincinnati. So that, coupled with the fact that Baltimore's hot, is tough for me to back Cincinnati, even though I think that's probably the right side. Baltimore is just a team I don't want to get in front of right now. They're either hot or cold, and right now they're hot. So those are just some of my takes on games that I was looking at, but I'm not going to bet them. I just don't feel too comfortable with it. So the 3 I will be on, ugly week, and I know I said this a few weeks ago, and I try my best not bet bad teams. At the end of the day, I don't want to bet bad teams, but man, I mean, there's some bad teams that are getting a lot of points this week, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, I mean, first game, going to Washington and Green Bay. Green Bay is a 9-point favorite. I will be on dogs this week, guys. I'm on Washington +9. For me here, Green Bay has a big look-ahead game. They play Thursday against Arizona. Short week. That's a game that's circled on their schedule. A game they'll be looking forward to. Probably. So I think it's a big look-ahead spot for Green Bay. They've won 5 in a row. I think everyone's loving the Packers right now, and maybe rightfully so. I think the line's a little bit inflated. I wouldn't go higher than 7. At 9, I think I'm getting some value with Washington, so I am going to take Washington here. This one's tough. Green Bay, they have a lot of injuries, a lot of cluster injuries in their secondary, on their offensive line. It doesn't really seem to be bothering them. I mean, Rodgers gets rid of the ball in like 1.5 seconds, so I don't think offensive line issues is really affecting him. And you could say, well, Washington's supposed to have a really good front 7, so maybe they can take advantage of this and put pressure on Rodgers. I'm not holding my breath. I mean, the Washington has been terrible. They've been what a letdown for them this year. This team was supposed to be built around their front 7. They have all these first-round draft picks. Their defense is, supposed to be loaded, and they've just been awful this year. So I don't expect them to take advantage of these injuries for Green Bay on the offensive line. If they do, great. But it's more for me that Green Bay probably isn't all that focused for this game. They have that big game coming up in 4 days. It's a lot of points. Washington got called out by their coach Rivera after last game's second half debacle. They were beating Kansas City at halftime and they just fell apart. I think Washington comes in this game a little bit more hungry than Green Bay. I'm going to take Washington plus the points. The next game is Atlanta and Miami. Atlanta is a 2.5-point favorite. I'm going with Miami here. Small home dog plus 2.5. Not a popular pick for sure. Atlanta, I'm sure, is getting a lot of action, probably by even sharp bettors. I'm sure Atlanta's getting a lot of action here. But it's another hard game to handicap because the Falcons, they shouldn't be a road favorite to anyone. And Miami has looked like a complete mess, obviously. Miami's coming off a disappointing loss in London to Jacksonville. Most teams after playing in London have a bye week. I think Miami, probably at the beginning of the season, they had the option to have a bye week, and I think they actually chose to opt out of having a bye week because the NFL just, they don't want teams playing on, weeks like that where they have to fly 8 hours. It becomes a short week for them. But Miami's wants to play, and I think this is a game where I think it's a bit of a trap game. I think Atlanta looks really easy, less than a field goal, coming off a bye week against a really bad team that just played in London and lost to Jacksonville. Getting Calvin Ridley back in Atlanta, I think a lot of people will be on the Falcons. There's not a lot of reasons to like Miami, and for that reason, I like Miami. So I'm taking Miami plus 2.5. I think they get the win here. Last game, this is, the biggest point spread of the week, Houston and Arizona. Houston's an 18-point favorite. I'm taking Houston. Similar reasons why I'm taking Washington. Arizona plays on Thursday, short week. I don't think they care about Houston per se. Yeah, J.J. Watt's going up against his former team. Who cares? Arizona is undefeated. They got Green Bay in 4 days. That's a big game. I'm sure they're focused on that game. They're not so much going to care about Houston. And on a short week, these guys, they're going to get ahead, and I think they're just not going to be, hopefully, not going to be super aggressive. They don't want to risk injury. They got a game in 4 days against the Packers, a game that's much more important than a you know, against a non-conference opponent in Houston. I mean, the game couldn't be any more. I mean, they just need to win. Same with Green Bay. Just win and get out. They don't need to win by any sort of margin. Houston's terrible, but I think you got to have Arizona really, they just want to win and get out. And Houston, they know they're a big dog this week. They know they're 18-point dogs. It's still an NFL team. I'm sure they're still, not happy the fact that they're this big of a dog. They have to show some pride, a little bit of fight, and stick somewhat close. So, they just got smashed in a divisional matchup last week against Indy. This is a game where I think Houston's probably a little bit more focused than Arizona. Give me Houston plus 18. Those are my 3 picks. Washington plus 9. Miami plus 2.5. Houston plus 18. 3 games that will not be fun. When I pick Green Bay, I tend to do okay. I do not do well when I pick against Aaron Rodgers, especially at Lambeau, and I'm doing that this week. So I probably won't be watching the Washington and Green Bay game. I have better things to do than watch Rodgers beat me. It's the most infuriating quarterback to go up against because he gets a lot of calls his way, and he just makes something out of nothing. And he's been doing that his whole career. So I really don't want to watch that game. I'll probably be watching more of the Miami game. And, if I'm live, still going into the afternoon games, maybe I'll watch Houston, try to play football. But other than that, those are my 3 games, guys. Probably do some props with the Chiefs and Titans. Good luck in Week 7, and hopefully we have another big week.